Hey guys, welcome to my channel. Today I'm going to be talking to you about the Jackson's chameleon. For Christmas, I got a pet chameleon and her name is Juice. Recently, I've been doing a lot of research and learning about this species that I hadn't ever heard about before actually, so I've learned a lot of new things and I wanted to share them with you guys. So the Jackson's chameleon is also known as the horned chameleon or the three-horned chameleon. They're also known as triceratops because they have the three horns on their heads and look very similar to the dinosaur, the triceratops. Males actually are the only ones that have the thorns because they're used to fight, and that means that the males are pretty aggressive. Females can also be aggressive, but those are used for fighting. They're native to East Africa, but you can also find them in California, Hawaii, and Florida. Jackson's chameleon's lifespan ranges from 5 to 10 years in captivity. Jackson's chameleon's size ranges from 9 to 13 inches from head to tail, with the males being larger. Here's a fun fact. Female chameleons don't actually lay eggs. They give birth like mammals. And the babies come out looking brown, and they will stay brown for 4 months, and then they'll start turning a bright green. Jackson's chameleons are territorial and should be kept in separate terrariums. You'll probably know this, but chameleons don't actually like to be held. It really depends on your chameleon though. My chameleon Juice, she does like to be held. She likes coming out, she likes exploring, she likes looking at everything, so I try to take her out almost every day, if not every other day, just for like 30 minutes so she can wander around my room. I have these vines for her and she loves to climb on them. But if you are just getting a chameleon, you want to make sure you leave them in their terrarium for a little bit so they can get used to it. I'd say for like 72 hours to 48 hours. Why they don't like to be handled is because they get stressed, and some signs of stress are they will open their mouth and kind of look a little scared. They'll hiss at you, or they will puff up. They can also do all of these at the same time. Now, when it comes to choosing a terrarium for your chameleon, you want to make sure that your terrarium has lots of ventilation. You do not want to get a glass terrarium. Chameleons need a lot of airflow. Also, you want your cages to be taller, so more vertical than horizontal, because they need a lot of things to climb in, because their natural habitat is up in the trees. Making sure your cage stays clean is very important for your chameleon's health. A lot of people use substrate and they put it at the bottom of the cage. I recommend not using any at all. I have a plastic pan on the bottom of my cage that I can just pull out, so I just take it out and I clean it, rinse it off with water, and just slide it back in. I do this every other day. It's so important to make sure that it stays clean, or else mold and bacteria can grow and your chameleon can get sick. You need to make sure that you're providing them with lots of plants and vines and things to climb on. In the wild, they would have access to all of these things, so you should be able to give them access to it. If you want to use real plants, make sure you do your research to see which plants are safe for your chameleon, because they can also get sick from that. I actually have sticks in here from the outside that I just took from like my backyard or like down by the park, and what I did is I washed them off in water and let them sit so that any like bugs or bacteria would get washed off. I know some people say you can like bake the sticks, but I don't think that's a good idea because your oven could catch on fire, and at the end of the day all you really need to do is rinse them off. When it comes to heat, your chameleon should have a daytime temperature between 70 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. I recommend getting a thermometer that you can put in your cage, put it at the hottest spot, so like the basking spot, and see what temperature it is. The basking spot should be 85 degrees because your chameleon still does need heat. And at night, your temperature should drop 10 to 15 degrees, so you might not even need heat in your room. My room stays pretty cold at night, so Juice does pretty fine. I actually purchased a heat lamp for her at night, but it gets really hot, and when chameleons get overheated, they will open their mouths and try to push out the hot air because they're so hot, and overheating leads to a lot of health problems. So I only leave the light on for like 20 minutes, then I come and turn it off, and then she goes to bed. Chameleons need a UVB light because it is so important for their health to be getting sunlight since they aren't actually outside. So By providing them with a UVB light, you are giving them the sunlight they need to survive. Make sure you are getting them a high quality bulb. I use ZoomEd, highly recommend it, not advertised, just, it's a good brand. You should be providing your chameleon with 10 to 12 hours of UVB light every day. Also, another thing to take into account is water. It's so important that you are misting your cage twice a day. I know you can purchase mist her cage twice a day, sometimes more than that, and she might drink the water off the leaves, or she'll also drink water out of a dripper. Drippers are basically a water system that drips water down slowly. I have it on the lowest setting, and she also will drink water out of that. But you need to make sure that your cage isn't getting like puddles of water at the bottom. And the water source should be a constant water source, so if they're ever thirsty, they can just go and get water. One of the main causes of death in Jackson's chameleons, or in any chameleons, is not enough water. So when it comes to food, you want to make sure that you are giving them a variety of food. I feed juice, crickets, and mealworms. I haven't really done much with like waxworms or superworms. She doesn't actually like them very much. It really depends on your chameleon, but it's important that you are giving them the option of more food. Thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope it was helpful. I'm so happy to have Juice as a pet. She's awesome. Jackson's chameleons, I love them. They're great. Highly recommend them as a pet. She's climbing my phone.